Good morning, everyone. This is an unusual message for me. I was watching Elena Denon this morning with an old repost dated June 6, 2020 that she just reposted this week. And it was a channeling of Thoron, the Pleiadian that she connects with, and his co-pilot, his best friend. And I just wanted to mention that before I go into the read that I pulled. I had asked for a message for you guys regarding the children who still need rescue, and the message for the viewers for this video. And this is the message that came out, which is the LENORMAND REVERIE deck that you see in front of you. This was actually the underlying energy, the owls, the two owls, and then this was the first card out, the letter, which I put down here because you wouldn't have been able to see them up over at the top there. And then the lilies is the final card after the well over here, because you can't see them very well. So here's the message. So the underlying energies, and this again was done this morning at 9:57 to 58. 9 is the Hermit, 57 is the Three of Swords, and the 58 is the Four of Swords, the 5D connection. And of course the 57 of the Three of Swords is the separation. So the underlying energy was the two wise owls, or the co-pilot that I just listened to of Thoron and his co-pilot best friend. The first card out was the letter, the twins with a message, the stellar blue jays. And I was noticing in watching the video of Thoron that there's two different spellings of his name. She usually spells his name Thor and Han separately, but it's also written on her tag as Thoran, Thoran. So it came up the same way here. So the letter, the twins with a message regarding the letter, and the stellar blue jays, but blue jays because the stellar blue jay isn't really a blue jay as one word. So this was coming up to show you the same reference to Thoron and his co-pilot. Instead of stellar blue jays, it's stellar blue jay separately, the co-pilots of the blue rays, not blue jays, like Thoran and not Thoron. Write, speak, and document for good luck. Four-leaf clovers and mint. Blow the wishes that fly in the sky. Send your good wishes out to the universe, the stars, for hopes and dreams to come true. Use the mountain energy to birth and deliver. And again, we talked about the clean water from the mountains yesterday. Two storks climb every mountain, forge every stream, follow every rainbow until you find your dreams. Co-pilots through Elena Denon with implant gives direction of poles and polarity, shifts about home and stability. Union with loyal pup and fox leading them to dangerous public place, perhaps a park, a zoo, a terrarium, a big field of grain in the countrysides and wheat fields, and fountains where people make wishes and see beauty. Literally getting your dogs to be led astray, to lead their child owner to follow them. And then Lancaster and the Amish country came up, as well as French and English countrysides. Farmers who step or stomp on dogs and harvest children, evil men and their sons, lead them into the woods or by the woods, and escape for them. They know where to go and hide. Underground, left from the wars, with mice or rats, which could be human rats, tainting the plants and apples and things in your house. But it's a blessing in disguise. A stitch in time saves 9. Take your time, don't rush. Patience is high vibrational, but impatience is not. When kids wreck the place or leave the food out, allow time for a breakthrough. The sun will be brighter than you remember. And this was at 10:19, which is the 10 of the Wheel of Fortune, the 19 of the sun. Exposing rod and staff, whipping lashings in the family tree. Even the most loving of ladies freaks out from time to time, especially those usually very proper, since this is not real. a shift in lineage due to family or world, secrets regarding home, union, and stability, safety and security, or social security. Good news arrives as we traverse the rainbow bridge, cracking codes of the heart and lovers, the loyal pup and the devious fox, who are also a misguided pup and a committed fox, joining forces to transmute negativity, two who bring out the best in each other. The cut, the wound, the abuse was a gift. The serpent in the apples in the Garden of Eden, Barbara perhaps, or Gemini, or twins. My Gemini parents perhaps, who are 7 years and 7 days apart on 7/7 today. The pup and the fox, the innocent and the devious. One cannot be led if they are taught to lead. One cannot become a stray dog or cat if they don't run away in the first place. In the Garden of Eden, twin bridges were burned, where curiosity killed the cat and led the dogs out to stray and roam with no home. Cool cat, 6 feet under, and hound dogs of hell. The impatient power lady discovering her sexual prowess, entombed so the jackal or hound could discover a breakthrough to revive her. The 5D connect of the power lady and the logical loving man who traveled far and wide to find out who I am, and asking others and receiving lashings, and then rod and staff to boss him and to get on his nerves, taking or needing to take a closer look at the family tree where he comes from. Inspector, Clouseau, and Gadget and General. 3 faces of Eve reflected in Adam, where the aim was to be Jimmy Neutron, and Jimmy Carter was coming up here, or Neutron, but they became more proton and electrons. The more positive, he was more positive, closer to the neutral, but she with control of the gates and the snakes, and outnumbering them, of course, comfortably circling in the outer realm and the inner border patrol, their female mother, their inner knowing that he didn't get at 1039, which is the wheel and the Knight of Cups being love, a secret code that all divine feminines share. The deliverance of the Holy Cross, the Mary Magdalene of Jesus and child, the Catholics versus the Cathars, and Oliver branches. More, please, sir. At the orphanage with Annie Get Your Gun. It's a wild world, and I'll always remember you like a child. With Slumdog Millionaire, the innocence of 2 loving children is a feeling that will never leave you as spirit is deeply connecting with me. Even when the anchor is cut, a blessing in disguise in the 3 Musketeers, in cracking the codes of love and honestly love you, D'Artagnan, and the 4th, who exposed the 3rd hand, a royal flush of love in the bathtub that would then resonate throughout the land and sea. You see, orphans and blind men see with their hearts, which allows for quantum jumping. For if the people in the labyrinth really wanted to get to the center, they would just climb over the hedges or burrow their way through home. 1046, which is the wheel, and the children, the 2 loving children hugging each other. Nothing can stop someone from true love except fear, as the divine feminine holds space for others to find their way there. Even though she burrowed her way through, she is unable to force others to take her same escape route if they don't believe it is safe, not wanting to have to start from scratch, being the cat and all. So they burn bridges, and those burned bridges get rebuilt. But this time, instead of 2 separate bridges, 2 as one in a stairway to heaven with multiple doors at the top. Ruby red or garnet, in the circle of trust, the ring of fire, the commitment to self, not into an early grave or tomb or legends of the hidden temples, but the mother lode of all that exists, the North Pole of death and rebirth, breakthroughs and mountains to climb and source. The mother preserves through entombing, embalming, rest, ice, cold, and breakthroughs, and mountains, and peaks, and peekaboos. The strength of the mountain, the sun coming out, with sealed tomb and hibernating bear, such power in knowing and assisting the collective in the communication and socialization, feeding birds who love to talk about feelings and risks worth taking. Dorothy and her pot of gold. And the talk involved nibbling as well, by the way. Dorothy and her pot of gold, and was the cyclone, the friends along the way, the monk keys, and the Wicked Witch of the West, and Glenda, of course, schooling as your guide, nudging you towards the Wizard of Oz, or O2, which is oxygen, and breathe. Oh, just breathe and click my heels 3 times to stop my mind, and home you go in a shift where all of a sudden everyone is loving and kind and patient and happy that you are home. Cancer and the moon, the mother and her cycles of birth, mid-cycle 717, handling with kid gloves after crying at the full moon and anxious at the new moon, upon closer examination of health and family and direction, going to work with the powers that be, who have multiple faces and secrets and all of the stability and pensions. The angry man with a cross to bear, or mother and her religious upbringing, and his need to be the fish, or the cool catfish, flowing in abundance for child that he loves, with foxes like him out there in the world. Suddenly his cool cat side, or the feminine, coming out, letting the cat out of the bag, cutting the cord, accepting his gifts and wounds, where hope springs eternal in a maze, amazing grace at 1108, which is divine justice and the dance of the inner and outer strength and the manifestation of your dreams. Amazing grace, the cyclone and the vortex, the Garden of Eden and 0 point in resisting or attaching. At 1109, which is the reflection of 9/11, if just going to get swept up in a cyclone again, bringing well water up from below to the light is where peace and contentment rest. The calla lily, passion and purity and motherhood, the power of the mother bear in merging the polarities to the center point, with leanings to the left or the light to do what's right. What good is the white rainbow bridge without the black hole as the threshold to the other side, the unknown, the expansion, the shift? It's all gray between black and white, the ash light of the rainbow bridge. So then the calla lily came up, and I was guided to break that down. And the message for you here is the calla lily. Calla lily literally translates to call Lyra home. Number 2, to be silent flower, calm and mature, white or all colors, the end of the compass needle pointing north, sometimes marked by fleur-de-lis. Number 3, the path of Lyra, white light rainbow flower, and there's no place like home. 4, a French apple flower. 5, rustic, homespun or grown, to race or to flow together, each in their own lane or plane of existence, start to resonate the longer they run together. They grow together and then flower like lyra string instrument with tortoise shell, a tough skin, with the brightest star Vega and ring Nebula, the star and ring leader, the chariots of fire, vehicles or instruments with space within to resonate. The AE of the ash or the beam of light with flowery tip that points north, or in other words, a human's etheric body. Rise and be love.